everyone. Today I will be reading from a book of fairy tales. Little Red Riding Hood. There was once a little girl who lived with her father and mother in a cottage on the edge of a great forest. The girl's father was a woodcutter, and every day he went out to fell trees in the forest. Just inside the forest there was another cottage, and here lived the little girl's grandmother, who one day made her granddaughter a lovely riding hood and cloak in the brightest scarlet cloth. The little girl wore her lovely bright cloak and hood whenever she went out. Everybody called her Red Riding Hood. One morning, Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Your grandmother's not very well today, so I have made her a sweet custard and some fresh butter. You may take them to her as a gift, but remember to go straight there and straight back again." Little Red Riding Hood put on her gay cloak and hood and took the basket from her mother. But she had not gone far down the road towards the forest and her grandmother's cottage when she came upon a great wolf sitting across her path. "Hello, Red Riding Hood," grinned the wolf. "Where are you off to this fine morning?" "I am going to see my grandmother, who is not very well," replied the little girl. "I have some custard and fresh butter for her." The wolf smacked his lips, but he was not thinking of the custard and butter. He was thinking that he might be able to make a meal of Red Riding Hood's grandmother and the little girl herself. "Does your granny live far away, Red Riding Hood?" asked the wolf. "Their cottage is just down the forest path," replied the little girl. "Then I will go and see her as well," said the wolf. "That is very good of you," said Red Riding Hood. "I am going to gather some flowers for her, and then we can walk along together." But the wicked wolf had other plans. "Let us see who will get to your granny's cottage first," he said. "I will take this path, and you can follow that one." Now the wolf had pointed out the longer way to Red Riding Hood. She forgot her mother's words and went off down the path the wolf had shown her. She stopped on the way to gather flowers, and she chased the butterflies while the wolf bounded along his shorter path as quickly as he could. When the wolf came to the cottage, he knocked on the door. "Who is there?" called the old lady from her bed. "It is Red Riding Hood," replied the wolf, trying to sound like a little girl. "Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up," cried the grandmother. The wolf did as he was told, and then bounded into the room. When the old lady saw the great wolf with his long red tongue and sharp white teeth, she jumped from her bed and ran out of the back door so quickly that even the wolf couldn't catch her. He did not chase her, but instead he waited for Red Riding Hood, dressed himself in one of the old lady's nightdresses, and put on one of her nightcaps, and slipped into the bed in her place. When Red Riding Hood at last reached the cottage, she knocked on the door. "Who is there?" asked the wolf. "Poor Granny does sound hoarse," thought the little girl. "It is Red Riding Hood," she cried aloud. "I've brought you a custard and some fresh butter." "Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up," cried the wolf, trying to sound like Granny. Red Riding Hood went into the cottage, and after taking off her hood and cloak, she sat on her grandmother's bed. The wolf hid himself as well as he could under the bed covers. The Red Riding Hood noticed his long arms. "Grandmamma, what great arms you have!" she cried with surprise. "All the better to hug you with, my dear," said the wolf. "Grandmamma, what great legs you have!" said Red Riding Hood next. "All the better to run with, my dear," cried the wolf. "Grandmamma, what great ears you have!" said Red Riding Hood. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," cried the wolf. "Grandmamma, what great eyes you have!" said Red Riding Hood, peering at the wolf. "All the better to see you with, my dear," grinned the wolf. "Grandmamma, what great teeth you have!" exclaimed Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with, my dear," snored the wolf. Red Riding Hood gave a loud, frightened scream as she jumped off the bed. The wolf leaped out of the bed, but before he could catch the little girl, the door opened, and in hurried her woodcutter father with his sharp hatchet. The wicked wolf tore past the woodcutter, out through the doorway, and ran for his life. Red Riding Hood's grandmother crept back into her cottage when she saw the wolf go, and after hugging the little girl, she got back into her bed. She thankfully ate the sweet egg custard and the fresh butter that her granddaughter had brought her and felt very much better. Little Red Riding Hood soon forgot how frightened she had been when she saw her grandmother's smiling face and walked happily through the forest by her father's side back to their own cottage. Well, thank you for visiting my channel today. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.